And welcome to coverage of Grand Prix San Antonio here from San Antonio, Texas. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe. I am joined in the booth by Jacob Van Lunen. And we have a feature match here for round 7 of Josh Utter-Leyton, Raptor, as he's known on the left-hand side of your screen, sitting at 6-1, and also at 6-1, Patrick the Innovator Chapin. We had a chance to get a quick look at Raptor's list, or not his list, but his deck earlier when we saw him. We had him on the secondary feature match, so we flashed over there for a quick look, and we got to see what he's running. Looks like a very aggressive blue-white deck. Green-white deck. Yeah. And Patrick Chapin, I don't know what he's running.
I have no idea. I asked him this morning, and he said a sweet one.
Yeah, he usually likes to keep his deck list close to the vest.
Close to the vest,
yeah.
Exactly.
But we'll get a chance to figure out what's going on here as he plays a bunch of cards. Patrick, known for specializing in building control decks, but certainly is capable of playing many different things. So let's see what he's got here. I see a Farseek in his hand and a Terminus, so does look like a control deck. And Raptor's going to lead off with his ideal opener, Champion of the Parish.
That Champion of the Parish can get awful big, awful quick. There's Avacyn's Pilgrim again. Josh Utter-Leyton staying on theme for Thanksgiving. We appreciate that here.
And he's going to get a trigger on his Champion of the Parish, so it's going to hit in there for 2 damage, bring Patrick down to 18. Patrick is deciding if he wants to play this Hallowed Fountain untapped, and he does, in fact. I see that he's got an Augur of Bolas in his hand. Not a card you often see alongside a Sunpetal Grove.
They're deciding between Augur and Farseek at this point.
Augur likely just to put up a blocker for the Avacyn's Pilgrim, as it's pretty consistent that Raptor's deck is going to be able to make a 3-3 here. So I think he's going to go for the Farseek, and it looks like Patrick's decided the same thing. Going to make a little room on the table. We get a quick look, and he has a Thragtusk there. So far, this looks a lot just like Bant Control. Maybe he just put in some. He's put in some Farseeks, and then maybe like I saw that he's got a Terminus there. So we'll see.
Farseek's pretty stock for this deck. I think the Augur is definitely something strange.
Are the Channel Fireball guys running Farseek?
I don't know.
I don't think they are. I'm not sure though.
Josh Utter-Leyton's a Channel Fireball guy, and I can almost assure you, with 100% certainty, that there are no Farseeks in that deck.
Very true.
For deck construction are now posted by the crazy waving judge.
All right, so he's going to pay all 4 mana to play a Sublime Archangel, which has Exalted. It also gives all your other creatures Exalted. So that's going to be 3 Exalted triggers, and he's going to hit Patrick for 5. For 6.
Really going to need a Supreme Verdict here. Or, I mean, if he just has a land, then he can land and Farseek, and then next turn be able to cast Terminus. But by that point, I mean, if he's trying to do that, he's going to be at 4.
Yeah, he's going to take 7 from the Sublime Archangel just as the board hits here. That's with no extra help from Raptor, like actually casting a spell on his turn. So Patrick Chapin under a ton of pressure right now. Now, he's somewhat fortunate in that he's not facing down a Thalia as well, because a Thalia would also put a big crimp in the plans for Patrick Chapin. He wouldn't even have been able to play that Farseek, and he'd probably just be dead by now. Looks like he is going to go for an Augur of Bolas here. And he sees an Azorius Charm, a Think Twice, and something else. So the Azorius Charm, a really nice pickup here, assuming that he has another land that he can play.
Ooh, but he does not.
And he does not.
And that does not bode well for Pat at all.
Yeah, that's if he had the second land and it could produce blue or white, then he would be able to essentially blank this attack from whatever creature Raptor. Wow, so double Sublime Archangel. Wow, so that's 8 Exalted triggers, and it's also certain death for Patrick Chapin. So Josh Utter-Leyton is able to get out to an extremely quick start and just bury Patrick under Exalted triggers. Kill. Yeah, wow, just turn 4'd him.
Yep.
That's really impressive.
And the only card that jumped in the way in any way whatsoever was an Augur of Bolas, but the final attack was was an airstrike anyway. But turn 4 kills on the play.
Now,
those are usually good enough.
Typically, let's take a quick look here. We have Sam Black versus Reed Duke. Looks like Reed Duke is in firm control here as Sam is sitting at 10 life while Reed is in 31. Sam isn't presenting any pressure here, but this could definitely just be the mirror match as well, where the life totals aren't going to be as relevant. I see that there is a Sphinx's Revelation. It looks like it's on the stack for Reed. No, he had already played it, and he had to discard a bunch of cards to it, which is, of course, a good position to be in. He's also got a Thragtusk, which seems to be beating down Sam Black at a clip of 5 damage per turn. We see that Reed Duke has like 3 times as many lands as Sam, maybe just twice, but geez.
Sam now jumping up to 13.
And that's a Jace Architect of Thought for Sam Black.
Yeah, but Sam still has like 6 cards in his hand. Now he has a Jace and a Thragtusk in play. He's not really that far behind.
Okay. Is that 6 cards? Yep.
Reed Duke, hot off of a top 8 finish last weekend.
With the same build?
Yeah, very similar deck. It looks like this time around he only has 1 copy of Amass the Components, and he is playing a main deck Jace Architect of Thought.
Is that the Amass the Components right now, in fact?
Looks like it is. And
Sam Black has a couple of lands. He's got a Detention Sphere, a Sphinx's Revelation in his hand. There's a Tamiyo the Moon Sage. It's going to tap down the Thragtusk, and Reed Duke is going to take out Jace with his own Thragtusk. Sam Black sitting at 13. Reed hits his land drop, and Sam untaps with, those, I didn't see all those lands before.
Those extra lands over there.
Yeah. So he's got an Elixir of Immortality now as well, which is really a key card in the mirror, as a lot of times you end up resolving a few big Sphinx's Revelations, and you can get pretty close to getting decked. This first
getting decked is a very real problem.
It is, yes. And, you know, this first game is really important in this matchup as well, because a lot of times you don't get to that game 3, you know? Like, these things do go for a long time. We see Detention Sphere there for Sam as we flash back over to Raptor, Josh Utter-Leyton versus the Innovator, Patrick Chapin. Raptor, a member of Team Channel Fireball. Patrick Chapin usually plays with Star City Games Black, but he kind of bounces around. He's got a lot of friends in the Magic community, and we see Raptor lead off.
He's very much a lone wolf also.
Yeah.
Patrick, he has a very unique idea about the tenets of deck building, and he approaches it very differently than other people.
He will also tell you about it
if
if you'd like.
Yeah, he's super open about it.
He is.
But it's often confusing and confounding to others.
He does see things in unique ways sometimes. Now, he just played a second land here. Josh Utter-Leyton has got that Champion of the Parish and has to try to craft this early game plan. This is a really important these first few turns for Josh's deck are super, super important. If he can get a couple of resilient threats going. Now, he looks like he's going to lead off, or he's going to play the Avacyn's Pilgrim. He's going to get a counter, and it's going to get Azorius Charmed. But Josh was prepared for that. He's got a Faith Shield, and in fact, his Champion of the Parish does get in for 2 damage here. So Patrick plays a Hallowed Fountain tapped and just ships the turn back as he gets his land in exactly the right order.
Patrick Chapin is playing 4
Is that a Rock's
copies.
Faith? Is that a Rock's Faithmender in Chapin's hand?
It is a Rock's Faithmender.
Sweet.
Rock's Faithmender doubles the amount of life you gain when you gain life.
Yeah.
Lets you gain 14 with Heroes Reunion.
Because that's relevant. All right, so Raptor he's going to play a Rancor on his Champion of the Parish, and he's going to attack with both creatures. So it's 5 damage coming to Patrick Chapin here, and Chapin says, yep, we're good here, and goes down to 13 life. Does Josh have a follow-up play? No, he just passes a turn back. So this is the standard play here would be for Patrick to wrath the board, but instead it looks like he's going to play a Farseek. Does he have a land drop to complement this Farseek? Or is this one of those?
AJ Boney, please report to the two-headed giant.
I really needed this Farseeks because he could have played one last turn, so he must have drawn it, unless he had some other plan for his mana, which he didn't use last turn. He could also just be out of lands here and Farseeking just to get himself as many lands as possible.
It looks like that was his 4th land drop, so Josh could have committed more to the board and attempted a kill and would have gotten there, but he was playing safe. He can play Silverblade Paladin here and get in 4. That makes it 5, 10 damage, right?
If he plays a Silverblade Paladin, the champion will go to a 3/3, and it gets pumped by Rancor twice. So yeah, if he pairs it with that and attacks, it's 10 damage. Ton of damage.
Tons of damage.
Yeah, but it looks like he's not going to do that. He's just going to attack for 5 more damage. That is going to bring Patrick down to 8, and it looks like Josh is just content to pass turn now. He does miss his land drop here, which could certainly be relevant if Patrick does have a Wrath effect, which is exactly what he has, as it is taking out one of Raptor's mana sources too. So if Raptor doesn't draw a land here, he's going to have some pretty. He did though. He drew a Sun Petal Grove, but the the things that he's going to be able to do just aren't that amazing.
All right, so Josh casts Silverblade Paladin, uses the opportunity of Pat being tapped out to get that onto the table. Pat's got a few different options here. It looks like he could just cast Rock's Faithmender.
He's also got 5 mana at his disposal. A Thrag Tusk wouldn't be out of line here. He has to be careful though because he knows that Josh has Rancor in hand. Doesn't want him to be able to pair up to some random creature and play a Rancor on his Silverblade Paladin and get him. All right, so that's 6 mana now for Chapin.
Because that is 8 points. The Rancor plus a creature is 8 points.
Yep.
So Josh is threatening lethal, but
the Faithbender would get in the way, but it would just gain him or get him a couple of life.
Yeah, I mean the Faithbender would certainly allow him to survive, but it wouldn't really make any headway.
Exactly. Rashad filling us in with the latest info there. Cavern of Souls has named Beast.
All right, so
this is a very critical turn for Patrick. He's taking his time making this decision here, and it looks like he's just going to say go. So Josh knows Patrick's got something here, and he probably can't just move all in, but he could just play the Rancor on it and just attack, and that puts Patrick on a 2-turn clock as well. I don't know how well Josh Utter-Leyton knows Chapin's deck list here. I mean, things like Restoration Angel could be going through his mind.
Ooh, there's a Nevermore in Josh's hand.
Oh. So he could make sure that he doesn't get wrathed ever again here, but I think he's just going to start off with the Rancor. He does indeed. And he's just going to attack. Oh, nope, he is going to pair something up, it looks like. Champion of the Parish. Soul Bond, and he's going to attack for lethal here. So Patrick has something.
He must.
Can't have just passed the turn back. Plus he's got cards in hand and 6 mana, all of his colors. So something's going to happen here. It's just a question of what does Patrick want to do. He's going to pay the full 6. What is this? Sphinx's Revelation. So he's going to gain 3.
Go
put him
to 3.
8, go back down to 3, but he is going to draw 3 cards here, and he's going to try to set himself up to really push this game forward and to his advantage as he gets to his untapped step here. Okay, so Chapin, this is the big moment. He gets to hit his draw step. There it is. Play a land and then do whatever he wants. Is that a Thrag Tusk that he drew? Okay, so that's a reasonable start here.
Yeah, but it's not
it's
quite
not
enough.
It's not enough by itself. All right, Supreme Verdict number 2. Josh gets a trigger from his Rancor, and Patrick just plays a land and ships a turn back. He does have blue-white available, though. Things like Think Twice and Azorius Charm are available to him. Even potentially an Essence Scatter, although I don't believe he's running it.
Sublime Archangel comes down from Josh, and that's interesting because now if Pat taps out and or even taps the majority of his mana here for a card like Thrag Tusk, then Josh can just cast a Silverblade Paladin and he'll be right back in the game.
All right, so we see Patrick Chapin using his Supreme Verdicts pretty liberally. He's just like, get that thing off the board because he's got a follow-up play. He did Think Twice, by the way, on NSEP, so he's got one of those in the yard. And Rux Faithmender, a card you don't often see in Standard, is now on the battlefield for Patrick Chapin. It's a 1/5.
Yep, it has lifelink.
Mm-hmm.
And all life that Patrick gains will be doubled.
Yeah, it says if you would gain life, you gain twice that much life instead. And remember, Rocks itself has lifelink, so it's itself a form of life gain, although not a very potent one. He really does need to find a way, like maybe a Thrag Tusk?
Or a Sphinx's Revelation.
Or a Sphinx's Revelation. Now I see that he's got a Thrag Tusk and a Centaur Healer in hand.
Whoa!
that represents life. 16. But first he's going to attack. And Josh, he can block it. And he does. And Patrick gains 2 life and goes to 5.
Yeah, Patrick goes to 5.
And now we're going to see, wow, he's got a Restoration Angel too.
Whoa.
Patrick Chapin is going to go from, what was he at, 4 or 3 or something, all the way up to like 1 million here.
Yeah, he's at 15 now.
He just gained 10, and now he's going to gain 6 more. Oh no, he's just going to play the Restoration Angel right now. He's going to blink the Thrag Tusk. He's going to get a Beast. He's going to gain 5 more life, or 10 more life, excuse me, and he still has that Centaur Healer as well. This set him up.
Okay, but I don't know how safe he is.
Okay.
Joshua Layton. Did he draw land? Because Joshua Layton has if Joshua Layton has double Rancor and the Silverblade Paladin, think about it, that's 8, 10.
That's 4
double striked.
8.
That's 20 trampling, double striking, flying damage.
Wow. Yeah, these. We were mentioning this before we started recording, Jake, that these decks are capable of such huge punches of mana that cards like Thrag Tusk start to become marginalized at some point. We've seen most of the decks react to it. And it looks like that's what's going to happen here. And then a Rancor is going to hit it too. So right now, that thing is 6, 7, 8, and it's 16 damage worth of double striking trample that is going to come. Or it's 16 total damage is coming at Patrick Chapin here. Now Patrick can chump block with his Restoration Angel. Doesn't really get him that far here. It would soak up 4.
It doesn't affect the clock really at all.
Mm-mm.
Now, what's interesting here also is that Josh, next turn, will be able to cast Nevermore, naming Azorius Charm, which is really the only card he would have to worry about in this spot, except for Restoration Angel, because Restoration Angel at this point does gain 10.
It does gain 10 and also put up another blocker that can soak up some more of this damage here. So Patrick's doing some math here. He knows what he has in his hand. We don't. But he could have another Thrag Tusk. He could have Sphinx's Revelation. There's a few things that he can have. Now, Joshua Layton's sitting on 18 life. And he's facing down 9, 10, 13 power.
Yep.
So, Patrick Chapin does have the ability here to put some pressure back on Josh, as long as it doesn't leave Patrick dead.
So 31-33. All right, so one more creature from Josh will be enough to have lethal with 2 attacks from the Sublime Archangel. after Pat casts the Centaur Healer. One more creature is enough. However, if Pat blocks with the Restoration Angel the next turn, then he'll be okay.
Chapin took the full 16. He goes to 9. And Josh passes a turn back.
Yeah, now Chapin's going to gain another 6 from the Centaur Healer, then gain 2 from the lifelink on the Faith Mender, and he gets a draw step. So that's going to put him at 17, meaning Josh needs another creature to have the power be lethal, but then also needs to get past this Restoration Angel.
Okay, so pretty good position here for Patrick.
Yeah.
He is going to be able to attack. He does, so he's going to draw a card with his Think Twice.
But
it was a Thragtusk.
Oof.
Yep. The big beast here is going to gain him another 10 life potentially. And it'll be interesting to see because Josh presumably doesn't want to trade off that Silverblade Paladin. But he could. Could block a Thragtusk or a Beast token.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be doing that just yet.
I don't think so either. But if Chapin's able to gain enough life here and get that cushion as high as possible, it's going to prevent Josh from being able to attack. And his deck wants to attack. Exalted doesn't do anything on defense, that's for sure. Is Chapin going to not attack here? No, he's just going to play a Thragtusk.
Hops up to 19 here.
He's going to play an untapped Glacial Fortress.
So he's at 19, currently 16. So if Josh can get 2 creatures on the table? Oh no, because the angel blocking. So 23.
So now Patrick Chapin's doing the math.
Josh needs Rancor in a creature?
Why do you think Patrick played that Thragtusk first main, though? That gives Josh a lot of extra information about how this race plays out. You know, about how, like if Josh needs to block here, you know, what this board state's going to be doing for the next turn or two.
Oh, I don't think it really matters that much, just because I don't think there's. And Patrick's somebody who will tell you that you should always do it right, even if it doesn't matter, just to create a habit. So shame on Patrick, but
but it does matter a lot here.
Do you think so? I don't think there's any way Josh would ever block on this turn, no matter what Pat attacks with.
Well, but he can have another Silverblade Paladin in hand as well, and repair. I mean, if he's going to lose this race,
I mean, if Pat attacked with that Angel, then Josh could have won, but he didn't.
All right, so he's just going to block the Rock's Faith Mender, and he's going to take 8. Patrick's going to gain 2 more. Ship the turn back. All right, so let's see what Josh can draw here.
Is Josh playing Oblivion Ring? Is that the card we saw? Oh, no, I think he drew a second copy of Nevermore, which is just terrible here.
I think that's what he drew, too. He's also got a Thalia in hand.
Yeah, just not going to be good enough.
It looks like Patrick Chapin's going to be able to win the race here.
Well, hold on one second, because Josh can play the Thalia.
Okay.
Swing with the Angel.
Okay.
And
have a bunch of first strike, double strike blockers?
Yeah, and have, you know, he's going to have to block the next turn. He's going to have to chump. But Pat won't be able to lethal him next turn because Pat is going to have to chump with the Angel right now to survive, because he doesn't know if Josh has Selesnya Charm or anything like that.
Well, Josh hasn't played another creature quite yet here, though, so let's take a look at... Because right now, the Angel is 6, 7, 8. It's only hitting for 16 right now. If he plays the Charm, it's 20, right?
Uh-huh.
And Chapin's at 21.
Yeah, so... But presumably Josh is going to play a creature before he attacks.
Right, so if that's the case, which didn't happen yet, he's going to lead off with Nevermore, and we're going to get Rashad to figure out what it is that he's naming. It's looking he's already all over it. The suspense is killing me. It's got to be Azorius Charm. Is that what you think it is?
Yeah, he has to name Azorius Charm here.
All right, so we're thinking about what to name here.
Okay.
Raptor is deep in the tank, and it looks like something was named as he is now going to play the Thalia, which is, all right, it's Sphinx's Revelation.
Ooh, okay.
So he's thinking much longer term here. And, all right, so he is battling right now, and he's tapped out. Now, how much damage is this? This is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's 18 damage. So Patrick Chapin can actually take this. Then if he attacks back, Raptor can like chump block, and only take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and he can be alive. And then he can swing in there with the Angel and kill him. So Patrick Chapin's got decisions to make here. He can, if he wants, just take this.
That's precisely what he's going to do.
And he did. So does he have a way to move to get some of the, like get one of those creatures out of the way? Because if he does, then he can get in there for lethal. Slowly peels it. Was that an Azorius Charm?
I believe it was.
Okay, so that's not quite
well,
good
no,
enough.
but he can send with his team and then lifelink his team, and he has a Faithbender in play. He would gain like 40 life if he did that.
Okay, yeah.
And decimate Josh's board except for the Angel.
Yeah, so he wouldn't. He would gain. So like we assume that Josh or Leighton would like double block on the Thragtusk or something.
Well, no, he would have to chump both Thragtusks to survive, right?
Let's see. He double blocks one. It's 5, 8. If he sends the whole team, yeah, you're right. Okay, yep, I see what you're saying. It looks like Patrick is slowly coming to the same conclusion here. Oh, man. Do you send the Rock's Faithbender as well? Yeah, get him in there. You know, I think that Patrick Chapin has already gained 36 life this game just from the 2 Thragtusks and the Centaur healer.
Well, both Thragtusks gained 10.
But he blinked one.
Yeah, another 10.
So that's 30.
And then the Faithbender has gained him, like
4 or 6 or something. Has he played?
And he has another healer in hand.
Oh, he's got the healer in hand, right?
He's already gained 36 life, and he's at 3, winning by the skin of his teeth.
Against Green-White. You know, it's not like...
and he's wrathed 3 times.
And he's wrathed 3 times.
3.
Josh Utter-Layton's deck is extremely potent. All right, so he's going to put double striker in front of one Thragtusk and Thalia in front of the other.
And Azorius Charm lifelink.
Give all my creatures lifelink. So the first Thragtusk, though, is not going to do... Oh, it will. Yeah, they're all doing damage. So it's 10, 20, 26,
34.
Plus 32, 33, 34.
Yeah, so again, 34.
No, but also the guy has lifelink.
Well, it
so
doesn't
it's
double
the
up.
same, yeah. So 34 life. He jumps up to 37 life.
And
by the way,
life.
He's got a follow-up play as well. Putting him up to 43 life now.
So he gained 40 life this turn.
And we had him at about 36 before that. So he's gained 76 life. Well,
Rock's Faithbender.
I guess when you gain 76 life, you honestly, that was the most important card in that whole entire game. Wow, that's an incredible.
That was a game.
The swings were insane in that game with how much life.
Like Josh was
able to inflict
for 16 a turn.
Yeah, with one creature.
And Pat was like, "I'm not going to block or kill that thing that's attacking me for 16 a turn. Yeah. I'm going to gain enough life to mitigate this.
Let's race.
Let's race."
Yeah, that was incredible.
You attack me for 16 a turn? I'll attack you for 3 a turn. We're racing.
76 life.
So he gained 76 life that game.
Couple of updates from some of the other players out there. Luis Cod Vargas says his brains got eaten this round. He's now 6-1.
Oh, no.
And Kibler says he was bonfired to a crisp by Naya mid-range.
We saw that deck doing well in daily events recently.
I did see that as well.
That's a deck that I would like to play. I do really well in Naya decks. That's my jam.
Naya's your jam?
Naya's my jam. That's my guild. My guild is Selesnya and Gruul together. If I had to pick one, it would be Izzet, but if I got to pick the double guild combination, it would definitely be the Selesnya, Gruul, Burrows trifecta.
People on Twitter reacting quite favorably to Chapin's insane high number of life gain now. And I like Josh's side of this better, though. I mean, yeah.
I like that Josh kept getting him down to 3.
Yeah.
And was playing green-white little kid.
Yeah.
And his opponent wrapped him 3 times.
Wrapped him
and
3
gained
times.
80 life.
Yeah, I mean, Raptor was able to do 1 million damage that game.
The Raptor, just 2 weeks ago, we saw him make it all the way to the finals at Grand Prix Chicago, the modern format, playing an innovative Jund deck, playing Lingering Souls. And he was eventually defeated by Jacob Wilson. Notable child, Jacob Wilson, master.
All right, then.
Notable child?
He's very young.
Ah.
Yeah, but he was playing the same deck as Josh. Josh gave him the deck.
Oh, yeah, I
beat
saw
Josh
that.
in the finals. It was awesome. And he played like a master.
No justice.
No justice. No, but I mean, it's pretty awesome. It's such a good story.
I think so, too.
But that kid is supposedly pretty good. I mean, he's top-aided a Mox. He's qualified for multiple Pro Tours this year before this Pro Tour that he qualified for. Pretty impressive resume for somebody who's so young.
For these of you just joining us, it's round 7 here in San Antonio. This is a standard Grand Prix. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe. I am in the booth with Jacob Van Lunen, and we are going to Game 3 of Josh Utter-Leyton on the left-hand side of your screen, playing green-white, aggressive, very aggressive too, versus Patrick Chapin on the right. He is playing his own version of Bant Control. We just saw him gain upwards of 80 life. I think it was 76. We don't have an exact count, but tons of life, and still really won a pretty close game there. He managed to cast Supreme Verdict 3 times and still barely squeak it out after gaining all that life. And that is an ideal start for Josh Utter-Leyton on turn 2 at least, which is Thalia, Guardian of Thraben.
Exactly what Josh wants here.
And that is going to slow Patrick down a ton. Like right now, Patrick could very easily have a Farseek in his hand that he just can't even cast. Josh battles for 2, plays a land, and he's going to play a Champion of the Parish and follow that up by a Precinct Captain. That's going to trigger the champion. So all of a sudden,
6
6 power, 3 turn clock, Patrick. And you're under the gun of Athalia. You know, that puts a lot of pressure on a control player.
Yeah, pretty interesting here because Patrick is probably going to want to pay 3 mana to Azorius Trime the Thalia when Josh attacks with everybody so that he'll be able to Supreme Verdict next turn. But he doesn't know that Josh has a Nevermore in hand. So if Patrick does, in fact, do that, then it gives Josh an opening to just resolve the Nevermore, naming Supreme Verdict.
Yeah.
And if Josh resolves the Nevermore, naming Supreme Verdict in this type of board state, it's going to be really hard for him.
It's going to be extremely difficult for Patrick to get through that. Yeah, it's a very reasonable line, and I would assume as well that that has to be some of the things that are going through Patrick's head right now, especially if he has an Azorius Charm in hand. I mean, which he does. I see one. All right, so Josh Utter-Leyton, known as Raptor, is thinking about the same things that we were just talking about.
Thinking about all the different things that can happen here.
Mm-hmm. He is still thinking about what he wants to do, and it looks like he is going to play something pre-combat here, though.
That's fine, because he has the Gavany Township. So as long as he doesn't play the Gavany Township, yeah, there we go. So
This way, this allows him to get in for... Oh, he did play the Township, though.
Yeah, but there's no way Pat can know that he has the Nevermore.
Yeah, so that's fine. Yeah, it seems like a totally reasonable line of play here. All right, pay 3. Azorius Charm Precinct Captain.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so Pat doesn't have Supreme Verdict.
Okay. Yep. Straight up.
He's playing 4 of them. Doesn't have one. Doesn't have one in hand, to be fair.
That's interesting. So Pat, he just passed a turn back.
Well, he can't play Nevermore. Thalia's still in play.
Right.
I'm sorry, pairings are up.
He also has a Selesnya Charm that he can play this turn if he'd like.
Once again, TCG
So if Patrick spends any amount of mana this turn, he can Selesnya Charm, untap, Nevermore, battle, and really just be in a fantastic position. Thragtusk, although, would put a crimp in that plan.
But Thragtusk is...
You know, against those creatures, it's not like Josh doesn't have any other way to get his guys through. He can just sit back on Gavony Township.
Yeah, and the Gavony Township lets his guys get through pretty quickly, though, because the guy, like, Thalia becomes a 3-power first striker right away.
Right.
So does Precinct Captain.
Yeah, and that's not going to come down for a couple turns, but I definitely know what you're saying. All right, so it looks like Patrick's going for a Detention Sphere on the biggest creature on the battlefield. He's going to take down Champion of the Parish. Looks like we have a some type of result coming in from our side table. We'll try to get you an update on that once we know what's going on. And it is going to be the Selesnya Charm on end step. It's going to make an Ocho token.
Very nice. Force of David Ochoa.
From the side tables, Reed Duke has defeated Sam Black 2-0.
Josh Layton. Sitting at 6-1. Really wants this win. Put himself in a very good position.
He attacks for 5. That's going to knock Patrick right down to 8, and we're going to see a Nevermore, presumably naming Supreme Verdict.
But perhaps Thragtusk.
But it could be.
It's very obvious that Pat doesn't have the verdict. So
could be.
Thragtusk is named.
Yep, great read, Jake.
Thank you.
That's going to take away now. And it puts a lot of pressure on Patrick's draw step to draw a Supreme Verdict. Now I saw he happened to draw an island this turn. So unless Patrick was doing some serious next leveling, as it were.
Yeah, Pat would have to be. Pat would be on an unbelievable level of complexity if he has Supreme Verdict.
Like perhaps incorrect, you know, he maybe has gone too far.
This man has gone too crazy.
All right, so is this a Farseek?
It is. Got himself a fountain.
So right now, Josh Layton is 1 land away from having lethal damage on the table with 3, 6, 7, 8. So Patrick Chapin, he's got to come up with something here, or else he risks losing to a land drop.
Yes.
And he just passes a turn back. He says, "My fate is in your hands."
Was it a land? Because if it was,
doesn't quite look like it.
Selesnya Charm is good enough too.
Patrick has 2 lands up, but since Thalia's on the table, he can only cast things which cost 1, which limits it to like unsummon, which he's not running. So it looks like Josh did not hit his land, so he's just going to have to use his his Pilgrim to pump his team. Patrick Chapin has drawn a land. It's a Cavern of Souls, whatever he names, isn't really relevant here as he has all of his colors and spades. He doesn't need to worry about it. Is this going to be a Terminus? It is a Terminus He got up to 7 mana, and he's able to wipe the board. This is a huge play for Patrick Chapin.
Is stabilizing at 2 now.
Stabilizing at 2 life and passing the turn back. He's got a ton of mana and a few cards in hand. There's no more Thalia down. Now, he knows that Raptors got the Precinct Captain because that's the thing that he Azorius charmed. So he's going to expect that, and it's lethal by itself. So Chapin needs to find something. Remember, that Nevermore is named Thragtusk, as you can see by our handy and rather large and now double times graphic down there. So that option is not there. Chapin has drawn a Detention Sphere, so it looks like he could live another turn unless Raptor has Faith Shield. Detention Sphere. Detention Sphere. Target this. Does he have the Faith Shield? It looks like he does. Faith Shield. Give it protection from white, but it looks like Chapin had that in mind as he's got to dissipate for the Faith Shield, and sure enough, Precinct Captain goes away, and Patrick Chapin holds on for another turn.
At 2, hanging on by the skin of his teeth, Patrick Chapin here. Avacyn's Pilgrim going to come down, and now, with that Temple Guard, and that Avacyn's Pilgrim is lethal.
It's also lethal. So Patrick Chapin needs to find something that can get in the way. He's found something that costs 4. Is it a Rock's Faithmender?
That would be pretty good.
I see at least one Farseek in his hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sphinx's Revelation. 1, 2, 3, 4 for 4. It's going to put Patrick right back up to 6, and more importantly, maybe not more importantly, but just as importantly, it's going to draw him 4 cards here as well. He's going to hit his land drop for the turn and pass back. So Patrick Chapin slowly tightening his grip on this game. Josh Utter-Leyton attacks. He says pump it. Go down to 4. Patrick Chapin is going to get to untap here, though, with all of those extra cards. He gets his draw step for this turn as well, and he is on the verge of stabilizing here.
Won't take much.
Not currently. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 Farseeks.
2 Farseeks.
All right, so that's not
not what he needs.
Not the most awesome start to his big stabilization plan. He is currently not facing lethal damage, as right now that Avacyn's Pilgrim is going to hit for at most 3 with what's on the board. Now, if Josh...
Looks like Pat just has lands in hand.
Did he brick? Did he draw 4 lands and like 3 lands in
his outs are actually kind of thin when you think about it.
Yes. They have to be able to block for starters.
And they can't be Thragtusks.
Mm-hmm. All right, I think he has a Champion of the Parish and a Forest in hand.
I think that's another
Nevermore. Oh, no, that actually might be a Nevermore. I think you're right. All right, so another Nevermore?
But the other Nevermore can name...
what would you name?
Ooh.
Supreme Verdict certainly is one that you'd consider. Azorius Charm is one that you'd consider.
Sphinx's Revelation?
You could name that for sure. Yeah? Because right now both Azorius Charm and Supreme Verdict, both, they 1 for 1. Like, I don't know, it just feels like Josh is going to be able to find enough pressure here.
They don't get him back into the game, they just let him hold on.
Exactly. All right, so Nevermore number 2 is on the stack. Patrick Chapin is feigning thought about it. I'm really curious to see what Josh names here.
So naming Sphinx's Revelation?
It does name Sphinx's Revelation. Look at you, 2 for 2 like a boss. All right, so Patrick. Now,
wait, he didn't.
Did he not attack? Did Josh Utter-Leyton not attack there? Was he playing around a Restoration Angel or something that? I just assumed that he was going to be attacking, but it looks like he didn't, so he must be playing around something like Restoration Angel, where he wants to wait until he can get that Pilgrim either lethal or at least big enough so that it doesn't die to the Angel. I'm not sure.
This will happen at the same time, right? So Thragtusks and Sphinx's Revelations no longer do anything for Pat here.
All right, Pat has just drown yarded himself. And he passed the turn back with still nothing. Another land for Josh Hutter-Layton. He can attack for 3 here if he wants.
There's no point attacking though, right? Because because next turn you're going to attack for 4 anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's right.
You might as well just wait.
That's right.
So if you're planning on playing around the Angel anyway?
Right. That is a Sphinx's Revelation, I believe, for Patrick Chapin. Unfortunately, completely blank.
The Raven cries, and that Revelation will do nothing.
Wow. So it
Nevermore.
Looks like Josh Hutter-Layton is going to be able to take this down based on what we've seen from Patrick Chapin's hand. Josh Hutter-Layton does activate his Gavany Township. It's going to make the lowly Pilgrim a 3/3, and Josh hits yet another land. He's got to be frustrated by that, but right now he has lethal on the board, and I don't think Chapin can deal with it.
No blocks?
He says no blocks. Could be Azorius Charm, but Josh has no reason not to go for the win here and activate his Gavany Township. Sphinx's Revelation is shown by Patrick Chapin, but we know that's a dead card in his hand thanks to Nevermore, and Josh Hutter-Layton finds his way to victory off of one Avacyn's Pilgrim.